Welcome to West Wing Week.
Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, the President hosted the Italian Prime Minister, 3 different sports teams, and a bipartisan group of members of Congress. He also visited the Everglades in balmy Florida to celebrate Earth Day with Bill Nye. That's April 17th to April 23rd, or the savage splendor of a swamp. Kicking off Friday, the President joined Prime Minister Renzi of Italy, a valued NATO ally, in the Oval Office. After the meeting, they held a joint news conference in the East Room to answer questions about trade, Iran, and counterterrorism. That afternoon, the President and First Lady hosted a poetry reading and workshop with students, starring wordsmith and poet laureate Elizabeth Alexander.
The greatness of a country is not just the size of its military or the size of its economy. It's also measured by the richness of its culture. And America is America in part because of our poets.
On Monday, the President hosted the Crown Prince of the United Arab Emirates to consult on countering violent extremism and preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Later, the Ohio State Buckeyes traded their jerseys for suits as they joined the President in the East Room to celebrate winning the first ever college football playoff national championship.
All of us in life go through some adversity, and for you guys to be able to overcome it like that, to play together, to look out for each other, that's the kind of spirit that you want to see in cooperation, you want to see in any organization.
On a beautiful spring Tuesday, the President departed the White House en route to Fairfax, Virginia, to participate in a roundtable interview moderated by MSNBC's Chris Matthews. Joined by Congressman Jerry Connolly and local Northern Virginia business leaders, the group discussed how the President's trade deal will help their businesses and help the economy by opening up new markets and locking in strong environmental and trade protections.
I've spent the last 6.5 years yanking this economy out of the worst recession since the Great Depression. Every single thing I've done, from the Affordable Care Act to pushing to raise the minimum wage, to making sure that young people are able to go to college and get good job training, to what we're pushing now in terms of sick paid leave, everything I do has been focused on how do we make sure the middle class is getting a fair deal. Now, I would not be doing this trade deal if I did not think it was good for the middle class.
Later, the President welcomed the 2014 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion Kevin Harvick and his team, who brought along their bright red and white Speed Demon. That evening, the President welcomed a bipartisan group from Congress who worked just a couple miles down the road to celebrate the bipartisan passage of the Medicare Access and Chip Reauthorization Act.
We did not, in this case, simply kick the can down the road. We solved a problem. And we proved that's possible, and my hope is that that helps build a little more momentum to get some other good stuff done.
To celebrate Earth Day, the President traveled to the Florida Everglades. Scientist and nature enthusiast Bill Nye accompanied him on the trip.
Back from our trip to Florida, the President and I had a very nice conversation about climate change, science education for girls, and especially the future of the U.S. As a guy born in the U.S., as a patriot, I'm just delighted that we are all working together really at last on addressing climate change so that we can, dare I say it, change the world. Check out our conversation.
And I want the U.S. to lead. I want the U.S. to be the best in the world at the solutions and the innovations and what it's going to take to address climate change for the betterment of everybody.
Thursday morning, the President made a statement addressing the tragic nature of the counterterrorism operation in January that resulted in the death of 2 innocent hostages.
One of the things that makes us exceptional is our willingness to confront squarely our imperfections and to learn from our mistakes. We will identify the lessons that can be learned from this tragedy and any changes that should be made.
In the afternoon, the President welcomed the 3rd and final sports team of the week, the New England Patriots, this year's Super Bowl champs.
This got to be the hippest owner, right? Those are some nice looking kicks, right?
He then gathered the spring crop of White House interns for a seasonal ritual, the class photo and presidential Q&A. Meanwhile, the Vice President attended an It's On Us rally at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. The It's On Us campaign engages college students and campus communities to lead the charge to end sexual assault. So reduce, reuse, recycle, and stay engaged with us on social media. And thanks so much for checking out this edition of your West Wing Week.
I gotta say, I've never seen you in a suit, though.
Every time we come to the White House.
I was hoping.
Every time I come to the White House.
He's pretty good.
He looks pretty good, though.
He does. I mean, his hair's combed. I mean, everything looks pretty sharp.
Appreciate it.